7th, and we're here for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Here.
Mr. Pollock?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Call?
Here.
Mr. Key?
Here. Thank you. First on our agenda is the consent to get approval for the minutes. They're listed on our agenda. Is there a motion to approve by consent?
Make a motion to approve the agenda by consent.
Have a motion second. Anyone have any corrections or additions to any of the minutes? Call the roll, please. Excuse me. Let the minutes reflect. Motion passed 5-0. Get what we're doing. All right, next is citizens' comments. Same rules. Identify yourself. If there's an agenda item that you have a comment on, please wait until the agenda item comes up. If not, we'll open the floor for citizens' comments. Yes, sir.
Rob.
I'm already checking that.
I have two.
You got his list. Go ahead, Rob.
I don't have a list. Rock Creek, Colorado Drive. Two quick things. Have you heard back yet about the boat ramp road?
Same. It's in for permitting with DOT.
So are they going to move the road over, or is it going to be the same road going to the boat ramp for the foreign apartments?
They've asked for a second cut on the US 98, but it's in for permitting with that DOT.
Okay, great. And second thing, I was so annoyed this week, and I can't believe I still see these morons walking from the parking lot through the new vegetation over the sand dunes down to the beach. I know you're going to put the poles back up with the ropes. Is that going to happen pretty soon?
They just step over the road.
That's on the plan.
Well, at least
Or
it's something.
Did you talk to them?
Oh, I did. I did.
Good.
Several people. Oh, yeah.
Well,
They're pretty
I
embarrassed,
probably one or
too.
two.
They're pretty embarrassed when they're standing in the middle of the field where the vegetation is and everybody starts looking at them. But I mean, that's just stupidity. So I'm hoping to get the poles up soon, but at least we'll do something.
Oh. All right.
We put the ropes and the poles back. I mean, that was what I was told was the plan. We were going to move them up.
DOT will not allow the ropes to go back up.
Well, I guess it. Once we put them on our, well, do they own the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk about this later.
Okay. Sounds like we do.
Thank you.
All right, that was, we understand. I think those of us, especially as citizens, about people that come and use our, we don't understand it either. And all I can say is that if you see somebody do it, say, hey, appreciate you not walking on our sand dunes. Or worse. Anybody else? Citizens' comments? All right. Department reports. Financial, I see we have one. Is that for review?
Yes, sir. It's in everybody's box for review, and Debbie will be in the meeting, the next meeting, and she'll walk us through it. But she is out today. She's in surgery.
All right. So everybody has that. Just hang on to it, and we'll get a update when David back.
It's in your mailbox.
It's in your mailbox. Here's what it looks like.
Okay. It must have been put in there today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandy?
Good morning. We've literally just got our ATV back with lights on it, so if you see a red ATV driving up and down the beach with its lights on, it is basically out there just doing surf patrol, and or we're also helping out with Leave No Trace. So the red side-by-side on the beach is part of the fire department. We have had people ringing back to to the city saying there's a red side by side, who is it, what is it, but it has lights on it now thanks to Bay County Sheriff's Officer McSweeney, who put them on for us yesterday, and it's back here again today. So that's been sorted out. The pole barn is still waiting for its concrete base. I'm hoping it will be done in the next week to 10 days. They're still waiting for the final date on that. We started our 2021 pre-incident fire plans. We have to go to all the commercial and condo buildings in town, do a pre-incident fire plan. They have to be done every year for ISO ratings. That's in the process of being done. We've been to sugar stands in connection with water. We've done all the hydrants services down there that are needed. Passed on information about two that have a problem, but that is, as the city's beginning to take that over now, that is now falling on the fire department to look after the fire suppression down there. So that's in hand. We will be starting in the next week or so on hydrant maintenance within the city. So you'll see us painting hydrants on 98 and south of 98 where they get more corrosion from salts and so on and so forth. Further back in the city, they will be done as needed. So if they start to look untidy or rusty, they get painted. But the ones on 98 and south of 98 get done on a more regular basis. And that's. And as far as EMS is concerned, everything's working well with them. But still, there are no issues. Any that were involved in ironed out. There is the system is working very well. Our response times from alarm call, in other words, you calling 911 to us being at your door with a paramedic or ALS service is basically just 5 minutes and 5 seconds for the whole year. So it's quick, and the national average, when you take in big cities and so on and so forth, is above 7, but in smaller areas like ourselves, it's closer to 15. So we are well up there as far as our ALS service to our residents and visitors. So it's a system that's working very well. If anybody has any questions.
Sandy,
Sir.
on the 911, yeah, we had a little problem one time, some people using cell phones
Yeah.
and going to Gulf County.
But yeah, exactly. If you use a cell phone, it goes to
Is that covered
it goes to
now?
the nearest 911. Unfortunately, it's the way that the computer systems are set up. We ourselves in Mexico Beach and or in Bay County can't change that system. It's how the cell towers are set up. So it goes back to a main computer somewhere the line I'm unaware of, but it goes back to the main computer, and the computer decides where your closest 911 is. So we cannot change Bay County, or we cannot change our cell phones here, because we could be picking up a Gulf County cell phone tower, depending on what side of town you're on. So it's impossible for them to know exactly where we are.
Okay, so if a citizen uses a landline,
If a citizen uses a landline, it will go to Bay County dispatch directly.
okay.
But if you use a cell phone, which obviously most of us will do, depends on which cell tower you picked up. If you picked up a Bay County cell tower, it will go to Bay County. If you picked up one of the Gulf County cell towers, it will go to Gulf County. And there's no way
So
to change it.
what would the person do? Would they tell?
Basically what will happen is they will tell, once they give them their address, they will be transferred to Bay County dispatch.
Okay.
But even with that slight delay, there really is very little difference in our time getting there. Because the moment they've got that information, it gets transferred to Bay County have that, they then start their process, and we are dispatched straight away.
Okay. Thank you.
All right?
Right.
Thank you.
Question, Mario, about fire, police, and EMS to unincorporated Bay County, specifically. We have a memorandum of understanding.
We have an agreement with Bay County that we provide service. We actually get some subsidy from Bay County for fire. And then, of course, Sheriff's deputy's going to answer to whatever is close by. But again, we pay for the Sheriff's office, but they're responsible as soon as they leave the house. So they respond to all calls.
So we get subsidized for fire from Bay County
Yes, sir.
and EMS.
For fire, we basically get $60,000 a year, which is the equivalent of the 1.38 mils that is paid by unincorporated Bay County for fire. And as far as EMS is concerned, there is no charge in Bay County for EMS services. It is part of.
That's right. They changed that.
Yeah, so we don't get anything of that as such because there is no charge in Bay County.
Thank you. Sheriff's Department.
For the month of April, we had traffic stops, patrolled 9,370 miles, 16 citations, 42 warnings, 6 arrests, and 1 traffic accident.
Questions for Sheriff? Report? Thank you. Gina?
This month, we've permitted 5 residential structures so far. The Driftwood should be getting their permit this week. Not Driftwood, sorry, Dolphy Motel. Should be getting theirs this week. And that brings us to 210 residential and 21 commercial since.
So it's slowed down a little bit
Not really.
because last month was having off the top of your head.
April was about 14, I think, total. And we've had 5 in May so far.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay,
I don't think it really slowed down.
okay.
It's only in 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Question for for building department? Okay. Anybody? Thank you, Jim. Kathy?
We had a lot that was cleared over on Arizona that had some bad trees. We got that down. We had an RV that we moved over on Georgia. And I guess the rest of it going on with the demos. Unless you want to review it now.
Well, I think what we were wanting to get was those units or properties where you had no contact, there was no movement, they were still needing / the welcome center that is so widely known by, so that we could make a decision on how, if we were going to proceed with getting those, the city taking the initiative to get them torn down. How many of those do we have?
There are your top red ones there. The 2, the one on Louisiana, Maryland, and the one on 14th Street, and Paul Francis's place, and I got to work on Miss Harris first. We had no contact.
I got Louisiana, Maryland, 14th Street. I'm sorry, I missed the others.
14th Street,
Yeah, 14th Street. That's 3. Are there any others?
about Paul Francis.
Uh-huh.
It's about 6 months down.
814 Highway 98.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you say no contact, you mean we've issued citations and we haven't received any responses?
Those citations have come back. They're no longer at that address.
All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there another one besides 418? 814?
If you want to include God's house, that's
Well, God's house is on the
36.
FEMA list. It's been on the list.
Yeah, that's on the FEMA list.
Yeah, that's the only one of these that's on the FEMA list.
Yes, sir.
36.
Okay, so those 4 properties, are we in a position now to make a decision about whether or not we want to pay to do this, get a bid, and help us with that?
We can begin that now. You wouldn't want to commence that work until you have an order signed off on by the new special master. You don't have to have a hearing necessarily, but you do have a process where the special master would issue that order. But it'll take you weeks to get the contractor lined up to do the demolition, so you could begin on that anytime.
Well, Jerry, rock can start tomorrow.
We found me a rock at the dump truck.
Is there an estimate of the cost on?
No, we haven't done. We need the process now, which I think we've talked about several times, to proceed.
With this list of 4, I'll get prices for the 4.
Okay. and then we wait on the special master.
Correct.
That has to happen.
Yes, particularly without having good communication with the owners, it's important, I think, to follow the process carefully.
Now, even
The
though,
understanding is we had zero communication, right? Have you had any dialogue with any of these people?
No, sir.
No response? In the whole time we've been doing it?
Right. Every time I found new addresses, I send it out to another.
Go ahead, Bob, I'm sorry.
okay, you're talking about special master, the first two's already been through the master, they got to go through it again?
No, I haven't seen the order, but I think it would have incorporated the ability for the city to go through the work itself. They usually do.
The one on Hadley, Keckle,
Uh-huh.
the 315 Hadley, you mentioned Francis and 14th, and then the two Ched's houses in it. And Francis, that'd be 3. What we on Hadley, tarp tearing off, remove tarp, need demo house. Is that what you
Yes.
we got.
I've talked to her a couple
Talk
times.
to her, okay, we have communication with her, okay.
Okay, so Laura's gonna get us, we're gonna put those up, and then we can come back with some numbers, and then the process, we'll have to get those other two on the special master list when we get to that point.
Right. And like I said, those don't require hearings, but it requires a special master to review the file, to make sure the basic due process
Then we can
is
decide.
provided.
As far as the money, where, how much all this gonna cost. Then that goes to the tax lien.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I saw a hand, or yes,
For Kathy, you said you got one on Maryland. Just down from Maryland, right when you cross 7th Street, you got one on the corner, and one in from that is that mobile home just sold in October. That's kind of like sitting sideways.
I've talked to them. They can't touch that yet. They're still, what happened, it was registered in the wrong county. So now they have to get it re-registered in the correct county. And then the people, they were allowed to come in and clean it up, but they can't demo or do anything like that until it's registered in the correct county.
Oh, okay.
And that's what they're waiting on.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
all right, any other questions for code? Council, everybody good with how we move?
And let's go.
Okay. Tommy?
Morning, council.
Morning.
Give you an update on dredging. We're down to 2 days a week simply because of turtle season. The good news is we've got the west side punched out, so no chance of canal closing up on us. That's a good thing. We're also, we've been pressure washing down by the boat slips. We had a lot of algae that was on that concrete, so we cleaned all that up so that any of the slips are rented out, nobody will get hurt on that. Also this week we're in putting a temporary electric back on the fish cleaning table so that people can use electric knives. Snapper season coming up, we figured that would be a pretty important thing. And we're getting the tarp put back up on over it so they'll have a little bit of shade for that. Also working on various stormwater problems throughout the city, trying to get the ditches opened back up, cleaned up from the big rain we had here a couple months ago. Sanitation department, we started the commercial trash pickup back on the weekends, this past weekend. That's the beach cans, dumpsters at Parker Park and down at the boat ramp, and also any of the commercial establishments. If they need an extra pickup, then they can contact us and we'll take care of that. This past month, for April, we picked up 187,800 pounds of trash. That's about it. Other than that, just normal cutting grass, taking care of everything the city needs to know.
Thank you, Tom. Questions for Public Works?
Hey, Tommy, have you heard anything back from Duke yet on the missing lights that haven't been replaced?
I sent an email to Tabitha. She's been helping me with those, and they're supposed to be sending me back something to let me know where the status is with that.
Okay. How about
Yeah,
the
so
street
as soon as I find something out, I'll send you a text or something to let you know.
What's the latest on the street signs?
Mario, are you going to address that?
I'll get
Yeah,
you.
he'll address that in just a
Okay.
minute.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Others? Kevin?
Let me give y'all a hand out there. We had 82 line rotates for the month of March, 11 new services, 10 water leaks, 21 read-in readouts, 6 turn-offs, 18 reconnects, 47 requests for service and water, 9 service requests for sewer, checked 26 lift stations, 1 door hanger, rereads 164. They went up a little bit because of the rain. Sometimes they don't pick up when they get full of water. We had total service connections for March 2,339. Total gallons of water 4,239,000. Total gallons of sewer 4,487,000. And I want to bring up, we did have a force main break last week. I want to give kudos to road department and my department for getting it fixed in a timely manner. We also had a hydrant hit on 44th Street. I wound up replacing it with a flush hydrant because we have enough hydrants in the area that the fire department can use, and I just needed the flush hydrant for that dead end line. And that's pretty much it.
Question for you, Tim?
The turn-offs, is that because of the campers or the people
Just people that come, they want their water turned off when they leave.
Oh,
They have
okay.
it
Oh,
turned
yeah.
off.
Okay, I thought maybe, because since the campers and all that, I thought maybe they'd cut them off.
Not for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anybody else? Any questions? Where's Dave? There, you're up.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Sunset Park, we are addressing, or we will be resubmitting back to the DOT and DEP next week, addressing all their comments. So we can get back in their hands and hopefully keep it moving. The 15th Street box culvert, we had a discussion with Mario and Atkins last week, and just with the difficulty FEMA's been giving us, we think it's best to go back to the repair of the pre-storm conditions. Because if we do the alternate repair, it might open up a whole can of worms. So we're processing and finishing those plans, and hopefully within the next week or two, we'll have advertised for bid, and we can get bids on that. And the boat ramp extension, we had a little bit of movement, talking with the DEP and the Corps of Engineers. We're addressing some of their comments. The Corps of Engineers basically wanted some additional construction plans as far as how we're going to do the extension ramps out to the water. So we're putting those together, and we should have that resubmitted within 2 weeks for the review.
Okay. Boat ramp. The Corps is that, I'm sure I didn't follow. They've asked for what?
They want the plans as far as how we're going to construct the little 4-foot piers that go out to the water. They want some information as far as how that's going to be constructed, and then any kind of information as far as what has to be dredged out of that open area.
Okay. All right. Questions for Dewberry? Well, I can't leave without asking about Sunset Park. When you gonna? When do you?
We are pushing as hard as we can to get a green light to go. We're still stuck in design mode. With the DOT.
Permit mode.
Yeah. Sorry, permit mode with the DOT and the DEP.
Okay.
Yeah, move on.
I'll just move on. Atkins. Morning, Ryan.
Morning, guys.
Who's got those back?
Got my hand up. So at the top of the list, start with something I think probably you guys have heard about, that they had announced, governor announced, was that last week, I guess? CDBG-DR funding for applicants in the Panhandle. So there's several, just to kind of give you guys a little background on it, there's several different CDBG-DR programs that are going to be coming out. This infrastructure one is the first one. If you remember back in, I think it was October, November, we put in 5 different applications into this program with the idea that we kind of put them in, see if we got them, then when the next program opens up, we can move those applications over to the next one. So good news of the week was that we got the $5 million beach renourishment project So that was kind of our first check mark, which is great. And we'll be looking forward to those other programs coming out. There's a local match for HMGP program, and then I forget one. I think they're doing another infrastructure program as well, a second phase of it, and one other one that I can't think of off the top of my head. But we're going to be keeping our eyes out for that, so we can kind of reapply those applications that we developed in the fall. So that was good news. Oh, and I talked to the folks at DEO, and they said, Mario, be on the lookout on your email. They're going to be sending out in the next week or two, kind of like the kickoff meeting for this first round of projects. So hopefully next time I'm back, we'll have a little more information on what's going on, how that money's getting distributed. In terms of the FEMA public assistance, kind of our big win of the week, or big win since last time of the month, was that we did get that advance on the right-of-way debris, around $8 million. So we're now working through making payments out to KK Storm for a lot of right-of-way work. We've been working with Mary and Mario on that, and we're close. We've done, of the roughly $8 million, and we've gotten probably, I think, $7 million out. So we're just down to the last million, trying to make sure we've got all of our invoices and proofs of payment stuff squared away. We've also got 2 projects that have been moving through the FEMA obligation queue that are basically in the final admin review. I was hoping they were going to obligate by today, but they didn't. So I think within the week they probably will obligate. There's a Category B project for around $900,000 and a PDR project for around $200,000. So those 2 will hopefully the next week or 2 be obligating, and we'll start getting to draw down on those. On the jetty, pier, and municipal complex, we've been in intense talks with FEMA, going back and forth. On the jetty project, we're going to try to get some mitigation components included. To do that, we're going to have to do a benefit cost analysis to try to show that the benefits outweigh the costs of doing these additions. So we're going to start working on that. Got a meeting this week set up to start jumping into that. On the pier project, we're waiting to get something back from FEMA. We submitted our RFI response, and they've been, frankly, very reluctant to give us a lot of information back on that. So we were really pushing them to try to give us a response to our response, so that we can understand, how we need to scope and cost this thing out. And then on the municipal complex, we're fighting on codes and standards that we need to include for the scope and cost. And then on a final note, we got our donated resources project submitted. That was essentially the project we'd always been saving for the tail end, just showing FEMA how much money, time people spent in terms of volunteer hours towards recovering from the storm. So that's submitted and should be working its way through the queue as well. Last, as you know, paid amount jumped up a pretty good amount since last time to $70 million. That was in large part because of the $8 million that we got on the debris right-of-way project. So hopefully we'll be seeing both of those tick up a little more slowly, I think, going forward, but we'll work to continue to get more money obligated and more money paid out for reimbursements. That's my update. Any questions? Yeah, okay.
On your beach renourishment, we've got several roads that no longer can drain. We got lakes at the end of each one of those roads. One homeowner in particular gets flooded really easy. I was looking at some pictures of the beach prior to the storm, and it appears that there was a trough area between the sand dunes and the homeowners that water ran off into until it could dissipate through the sand out into the ocean. We don't have that anymore. When we did the dunes, all that area got filled up, and we've got a really big problem with houses flooding at the end of those roads, which is going to be more of a problem as more houses get built on the ends of those roads. So my question is, have you guys looked at the possibility of taking that to pre-existing elevation so that that's acting as a reservoir? That sand could be used for the nourishment of the beaches as well, because if we're taking some of it out to lower that area, that can be utilized in the nourishment area. Have you guys looked at any of that?
We haven't. So when we put in an application like this, we're kind of doing what I would call like a rough kind of estimate of how much the cost is going to be, and kind of saying like, hey, we want to do nourishment from this point to this point. So that's something that would really, like the detailed sort of scope would get worked out once we get a design engineer on board. I've talked to Mario about this a little bit. I know GDC is pretty involved in this project as well. They've been working with an engineer who has been doing, I think, other sections, and that it's all kind of part of like a potentially bigger, I don't know if I call it regional effort, but sort of that. Mario, do you want to speak at all to what
the total beach renourishment project is a much broader take. I mean, it would require dredges offshore, bringing sand inshore, and it actually extends our beach out. There are sections of our beach that probably have the proper depth, probably starting on 30th going towards the canal. We have probably 100 feet of beach. When you start to get over to Sunset Park, we only have about 40 or 50 feet of beach. So the beach renourishment that he's talking about is actually adding sand from where the waves hit and going offshore. So that's the $20 million project that, again, this $5 million helps us leverage the other $20 million ask, which is a Corps of Engineers ask, and also matched with TDC. But it does not, what you're talking about is a stormwater issue, not a beach renourishment issue.
Well, I mean, but the sand that's taken out of there could be utilized for beach nourishment, is all I'm saying. And you know, I don't know how you work it all in together, but I don't want us to forget about the fact that we've got a problem that we're just overlooking. And when we put that beach sand back, it wasn't done correctly, or otherwise we'd still have that little reservoir there. And it's a major issue, maybe not for everybody, but for those people that their houses flood every time a heavy rain comes and all that water runs down our roads to the end. It's a huge pond at each one of them. Some of them are 2 feet deep.
Yeah.
So I don't want us to forget about that. And anywhere where we can throw that in, that needs to be thrown in somewhere, whether or not it's a storm issue or not. To take it out to make the storm drainage issue okay, you can utilize that sand in renourishment, I would think.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think it will be something, like I said, we haven't really developed, there's not like a full scope on this right now. That would be something that would have to get brought up.
So are you involved when you start working on that?
So I don't think we will be involved. We kind of we're writing a grant, getting you the money. So
who is going to be involved in that, all right?
If it's a stormwater issue, it'll be Dewberry. If it's a beach renourishment issue, it's Lisa Armbruster.
Okay, so David, is that something that you can remember to pay attention to and start looking at? Because
yeah, if you can give me some specific areas, I'll take a look at them. I mean, we did the renourishment as part of the grant that Kimberly Shove got at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Is that the same you're talking about that went in and blocking the drainage now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll get with you and we'll look at the pictures that show, because there's a distinct area that's a low area between the homeowners and the sand dunes that was acting as a reservoir. It ran off those roads into that area until it dissipated through. So I'll get with you on that.
Ryan, thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, moving to our regular agenda items. Number 1 is the variance request at 318 Robin Lane. We will open a public hearing for those who may be here, and then before we do that, Mario, as normal, even though we can read it, just a quick overview of what just so the record can reflect.
You want my update first or public?
Yeah, no, just give an overview of what the request is, and I know we read it, but the record will reflect.
Certainly. Again, this building was damaged by the storm over 50%, so they would need to build back to our current code. And the building, I believe, is at approximately 12.5. The roadway is at 12, and they would have to go up higher than that. So it's a requirement based on our flood maps and our stormwater requirements. So they're asking for a variance on that item.
Yeah, this one is a little unusual because normally when we talk about elevation, it's a variance within the floodplain ordinance. This elevation variance is in our stormwater rules that are separate. So it's a normal variance that you see. It's not specifically a floodplain variance, and the standards for variance approval are in your package. Yeah. And it's only a request on elevation, so they're still going to have to meet Florida building code and any other requirements.
All right, is there anyone here to speak for 318 Robin Lane?
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Morning.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be heard. My name is Celine Gladwin. I'm the architect in the project. And with me are actually a couple of members of the church. If you don't mind, raise your hands just to identify yourselves. Thank you. And of course, I'm here to speak on behalf of the church, the applicant on this application. So, as staff has already mentioned, this project is essentially repairs to the existing church to its pre-hurricane condition. The water, like the building, like many other structures here in the city during the hurricane, it was infiltrated by a lot of water. About 3 feet of water infiltrated the building. And so because of that water infiltration, the repairs included in the building are substantial. And that includes total replacement of electrical and mechanical equipment, as well as the finishes. So because of the water level, the infiltration in there, we actually have to go in there right after the hurricane, remove all of the finishes, and to let the framing dry, we removed the drywall from the building. 4 feet and below was totally removed. So the building is basically back to its bare bone condition, in its current condition right now. So why we are here is because when we turned in the construction plans last summer for plans review, so in order to obtain a permit, it was determined that the cost of the proposed repairs exceeded the 50% value of the building. And that triggered the portion in the code that classified the work as substantial improvements. And because of that, then it triggered the local criteria that the building needed to be either elevated about 1.5 feet or to go through the various requests. But trust me, before we came here, we've explored all our options. Elevating the building 1.5 feet is just simply technically infeasible. This building is a slab on grade, brick veneer with wood framing. So in essence, in order to elevate it, this is about 8,000 square feet. So in essence, to elevate this building, you basically are reconstructing it. The actual load-bearing structure is impacted. It's just simply technically infeasible to just pick it up, and we can't just pick it up and raise it. So we started looking at other options, and we've had numerous conversations. I think Gina was, Ms. Johnson right here, she probably got tired of my calls and my emails as we really tried. She really tried to help us come up with ways to make this work without having to go through the variance. So one of the things, at Ms. Gina's advice, we looked at was we simply went and obtained what they call a retrospective market value appraisal. In essence, that's an appraisal of what the value of the building was during its pre-hurricane condition. And to my shock, and I'm still shocked now, the appraised value we got was not in our favor. So again, I'm still shocked about that, but it did not help. So we looked at other options that we can do to be able to help us with this, and we looked at what's called dry flood proofing. That's in essence, it's a FEMA flood hazard mitigation method. So it's basically another measure or consideration for insurance provision for FEMA. But I do want to mention that the church is self-insured. So really, the only risk here is really borne by the church. But we still looked at that method. And if for those that are not familiar with it, what that is, it's a twofold system. What it is, it's a it's like temporary metal panels that just before the hurricane or before a storm is coming, these panels get installed in front of the windows and doors. So what's in there is permanent anchors that are placed into the walls on either side of the opening. And just before a storm is coming, you deploy your folks. So in this case, church members will be deployed to bring these panels out of storage and install them on these openings. The other part of this is, which is a FEMA criteria, is that for a certain height above the base flood elevation level, you also have to make sure that the envelope of the building, so the entire wall all around the building, is done so it's impermeable to water. Now that's great if you're doing new construction, because then you can build a wall to ensure that that bottom 3 feet or so are impermeable. But in this case, this is brick construction on wood framing. That literally means removing the brick up to a certain height in order for us to do that. Well, that's just not feasible. You can't just remove a portion of the brick without removing everything. So the dry flood-proofing is a good concept, but it's still not a feasible condition for us to consider for this project. There are other reasons why it's not feasible. For example, the church members will have to be during a storm, they will be expected to leave their homes and families to go install these panels that are probably stored off-site. So it's simply not, logistically, it's not a system that is feasible for this, other than the cost associated with it too. So the reason we are here today is that we are asking that to be allowed for us to do the major repairs that are needed so we can put the building back to its pre-hurricane condition and let the church members come back again to their church so they can worship here locally, again, like they had been doing for many years before that. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer those, and we do appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mayor Guthrie, if I may speak, and appreciate being here. My name is Michael Archibald, so I'm the local branch president, so I oversee this congregation as far as a lay ministry, right? So I have a full-time job. I just do this as volunteer work. But we're excited to get back in Mexico Beach. We were here prior to the storm. Service about 235 members in the local area. That includes Tyndall Air Force Base, Port St. Joe, where you know Sister Mary Griffin. Now we service Apalachicola as well. So we've been meeting in Callaway. This is a much more central location for us, and we're excited to get back. We thought this would have been done 2 years ago. It's been 2.5 years since the storm. We cleaned up the grounds the Sunday after the storm. We're in the building. As you guys know, raising that building 1.5 feet wouldn't have prevented the damage that's done. There was 3 feet of storm damage through the center of that building. But we're excited to be back and appreciate your consideration.
Okay. Others? All right, we'll close the public hearing, move to the table for either questions or comments or motion.
So I have a question. What is the ceiling height, wall height inside the structure?
I could answer that. So at the edges of the building, it's 8 feet high. So where the lowest is 8 feet, and it goes up to about, in the middle where the chapel is, to about 13 feet.
So it's a vaulted ceiling on one side?
Correct. Yes. So the entire, everything has to, you can't literally build up the elevation within it without, so you will have a major, the gable, the ends will not be clear height.
Okay. I don't know that I'm through, but I'm through for right now.
Discussion, comments, or motion?
Motion. This will be a variance requested 318 Robin Lane. Do I need to read all of it? We approved it. Variance requested 318 Robin Lane. Sure.
Have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Further discussion?
Okay, question, what is this gonna do to us as far as floodplain and what we already have in allowing the variance?
It should not affect evaluations of your floodplain compliance because, again, this is an elevation requirement that's in your stormwater section that's not part of your floodplain requirements. The minimum floodplain requirements the state requires, they wouldn't be regulating this property this way. It's one of our local requirements. The actual requirements, what we did back in December, what we're dealing with is it says in shaded zone X, the elevation of the lowest finished floor of any new structure must be a minimum of 18 inches above the elevation of the highest point within all of the streets whose right of way touches the parcel as measured perpendicular from any point along the boundary of the parcel. That's a new structure, but the reason we're talking about a new structure is that there's been a determination that there's more than 50% damage to this property. So it should not impact floodplain compliance, floodplain evaluations. I would urge you though just to consider your general standards for a variance, which tend to focus on, that do focus on property specific issues, something about the land, and those are in your packet. But no, it should not affect your floodplain compliance.
So explain your last comment, please.
About the variance standards?
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Why don't I just go to that in our packet? So in my version of the packet, it's page 36. It's within this item. It has a page that says standards of review about midway down. Your standards of review on a variance, this is not, again, a floodplain variance, it's just any variance you have in your code, would be that the variance shall not authorize changes to the comprehensive plan, future land use map, official zoning map, or the densities or allowable uses associated therewith. That's not relevant here. The applicant must clearly demonstrate and show that the hardship is unique to the applicant and the applicant's property and is not suffered by adjacent or nearby property owners or general public. 3, the hardship relates to the land involved rather than the applicant's personal circumstances. 4, the hardship is not the result of the applicant's own actions. 5, the variance, if approved, is the minimum necessary to provide reasonable beneficial use of the property involved. And 6, the variance is specifically intended and necessary to promote other important city objectives or policies.
There's a motion and a second. Are there other questions or discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
yes.
Okay. Welcome back.
Glad y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2, variance request, 110 39th Street, front setback, open the public hearing, and again, Mario, just so that the record can be clear, just give us just a brief overview.
Mayor, this is a front setback request. I believe what happened is somewhere between the engineer and the architect, somebody miscalculated the height of the home relative to the ground, and the stairs need to be 2 more steps further down, and the 2 bottom steps encroach into that 20-foot setback. This home is at the end of the cul-de-sac. It's a $1 million home. It was an accident that will happen between an engineer and an architect from time to time, and I believe the owner is here to represent.
Okay. Public hearing is open, and those that have come to speak, your floor.
I appreciate you guys hearing my predicament. We did not get ourselves into this position on purpose. It was purely accidental. And we come to you guys with our hand asking for a little bit of help and to work with us. So we didn't realize, obviously when we did our building permit, we wanted to follow our rules. It wasn't, it was not realized that we had an issue, or we might could have addressed it a lot earlier on. We thought we were going to be in compliance with everything, and a couple of things that you identified, we addressed those as well. So we were trying our best to follow the rules, and just did not realize that we had an issue. And so we went ahead, we continued to build the house for Mr. Caraway, and when we did our final survey, we realized we were over that setback by about 20 inches with the bottom 2 steps. I have some pictures so that you can kind of see what that is and how it looks from the street as well as from the adjacent homeowner. Keith has neighbors that we've addressed this with as well, and they're both the neighbors are okay with this. It's just unfortunate we're about 2 steps over that setback line. We did not plan for that to happen, but here again we're there, and we just want to be honest with everybody about it. That's where we kind of stuck in trying to see where do we go from here. Obviously, there are, potentially in the planning and zoning, they turned us down and they suggested us to, possibly turn those steps. And to be honest with you, that's definitely a possibility. It would be a little bit of a hardship or two by the time we have those additional subs to come to do that. But at the same time, aesthetically, it changes the look of the street. And I wouldn't say that it would change it for the better, to be honest with you, because when you have a higher landing, it is inside the setback, but it's high at that point. So it even hurts you more at that point than just say, okay, the 20 inches is probably, it's not great, but it's better than actually making it worse. So I'm just asking, we have that variance instead of, basically going to cut our nose off to spite our face even though we have an issue. So,
For the record, please, clerk, pick it up your name.
my name is Brooks Hayes, and I'm the general contractor for B&L Construction Services, building the house for Keith Caraway at 110 Street.
All right, do you have questions or is there anyone else to speak? If council have questions for while he's addressing this?
I have a comment. I did the pavers on the job and got to know Keith. The steps, if you look up the street to the next neighbor, are probably inside the next neighbor's overhang a little bit. So from an aesthetics standpoint, the only thing that would make it worse would be to redo them. And you're only talking about those 2 steps. They got into the dilemma essentially because they couldn't park their car under it with the elevation based on the fact that lot, everything runs downhill. When I dug out the pavers for one, that whole area that I had dug out filled, we had a rain, it filled with water. So none of that dirt down there drains very well. So they went to the expense of putting in permeable pavers to rectify that. And when they went up just so that they could park under that, that's where the miscalculation came in. It wasn't like they dropped the ball from the very beginning. It was a matter of how the lot actually worked out. And being a builder before, when you get on the job, it's different than when you look at it on the plan. So you get into situations, and sometimes little things, as Mario said, between an architect and an engineer, sometimes get by you. And I can't see how we would not approve this variance.
All right. If there are no more questions for Brooke, I want to close the public hearing and cut that. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Are you have more to?
I do want to ask Chris.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying.
I was looked at storms this week. And the little the little building you got right here. Is it building? Whatever you want to call it. What do you call it? Fence.
Yes, sir.
It's right in line with it.
Yes, sir.
Well, if that's out, then that has to be out.
Yes, sir, it is.
So we're not just saying steps.
Well, we could always, we could move that fence back and it not be as aesthetically unpleasing as actually building a landing up higher and then turn them out. If that makes
You are allowed a fence in the setback. It just can't be over a certain height.
I didn't want to walk in the man's yard up there. I didn't want to get $85 or nothing. I didn't get that far, but I did got to looking. When did we find this problem?
We realized it when we actually did the survey. When we did our final survey.
I'm looking at it. When did we find this problem?
So I went out on the site to do the final inspection for landscaping and to double check the setbacks, and that's when I found it. I brought it to them and I said, hey, hopefully I'm wrong, go get a survey. And they went and got a survey and found out it was impacting the setbacks.
Okay. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. Any other questions from council? My comment is, I did what Darrell said he did. I went to the end of the street, I looked down that line, and without this, I've always thought of variances that would affect either neighbors / blocks, or how do they stick out? Do they create a what I call does it just look out of place? Without that line on this paper, you can't. I can't tell that it affects anything. And I want the punishment to merit crime, and in this case, I don't see any crime. So that's my take.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
could, before there's a motion, just overhearing comments earlier, I'd like to point out something on our voting conflict statute. It says that a municipal officer will not vote on a matter which he or she knows would inure to the special private gain or loss of a business associate. Based on that rule, I would recommend that Darrell abstain. He hasn't done anything wrong, but I would recommend he abstain from the vote today.
I'd have to abstain from commenting. I think it'd be crazy for us to fix these steps when it doesn't hurt anything, just like the mayor said, so.
Again, additional comments for the chair will entertain a motion.
I understand what you're saying, basically agree with you. But we are getting so many of these variances because after the fact. We're going to have to do something. And I do understand this steps. But we're giving variances on people building everything, almost every meeting. We thought we had it stopped.
Remember when y'all said it's going to stop this, and I said, no, it's not. It's not going to stop it. It's going to happen because things happen. Willie actually did the setback inspection on this, and everything was in the setback, but the stairs weren't built yet. So, we can't catch everything on that setback inspection. We can catch a lot of it, but not everything.
We did check the corners and the walls of the building. It would not check the stairs on that initial foundation.
Yeah, okay.
Don't do that, Bobby. I need your foot.
Well, I think that's a good point. I mean, we all have said that variances should be, that's the purpose of our rules, is so that people building here know what the rules are. And quite frankly, the amount of building that we're doing, I think we've done pretty good.
I think we've done incredibly well.
I mean, if you want to look at what's going on in our city, to think that, and Gina's told us, I'm glad you brought that up, that we don't catch them all. We don't, but I think we're doing very well.
I can tell you from a builder standpoint, when I was a builder, we're doing incredibly well. We have very little of this issue come up compared to the amount of building we're building the whole city over.
That doesn't mean we don't need to stay diligent to what we're doing. And don't make us that, I don't want my comments to sound like I think, everybody needs one. That's not the case at all.
I agree with Bobby. I know what Bobby's saying, and I agree with him. I think we like that. you've got a nice home, and there's no use in stopping it, but where do we stop? I think Bobby's trying to tell us in short, where do we stop? I mean, I know it was one of them mistakes, which is something happened, so, sooner or later, we're gonna have to stop, and then we'll know how far to be, but, you know, I think we ought to grant the man the request, set. But you can't see, and this nice home, at the end of the road, pretty house.
It's hard to change this now, but I still say we need to be more diligent and ahead of the game instead of after the game. So,
All right. Motion or further discussion?
I can't even make a motion.
I recommend you don't. Whether it's the contractor or the owner, I think you've got a business associate involved in this project. You feel, I think you make you feel better.
I make a motion, we allow the variances on, what is that street number? 120 39th Street.
And I second.
Let's get the address right.
110.
110.
39.
Street.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a motion second, further discussion. Call the roll.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. King.
I'm gonna give you some advice. They're gonna give you some advice.
Abstain.
Thank you. You need to just let that be on the ground.
I wouldn't have that work, thank you.
I didn't know you had to do that.
Thank you.
And there's a form to fill out after you're through. But you're gonna fill that out.
Okay.
Within 15 minutes.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's good.
228 Kim Cove, we have a lot split request. We will have a public hearing, and Mario. Take care, guys. Thank you. If you would again, Mario, I think the record is better when you give just a.
Certainly. Again, this was two lots originally, two platted lots originally. They combined the two lots in order to build one house with the garage and everything else after the storm was wiped off, and now they'd like to separate the two lots and put it back to its original state to start in order to build separately.
All right, we'll have a public hearing. Anyone here to comment on 228 Kim Cove? No one? Close the public hearing. And move to the table for either comments or questions or motion. This is nothing more than returning two lots to their original state, just as the plat shows. They were combined, Lord knows when, many years ago, and they're just taking it back to the plat.
I'll make a motion, we approve the lot split on 228 Kim Cove.
Have a motion second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 4 is a commercial development order at 625 15th Street. We will open a public hearing for that request. And Mario, again, we have the packet. Just give us a little.
This is a commercial development which is required to be approved by the council. They're basically taking a parcel of land north of 15th Street and building a storage yard for rent.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak?
Harry Phillips, we're at Storage Pop. We've got the self-storage facility formerly Ike Godwin's place. Been everybody here, and thank you for the warm welcome. Our business is doing well. It's needed service, considered to be at least, and it's evidenced by the occupancy, which is very strong. There's a demand in this area for climate-controlled storage. This is a climate-controlled facility. Basically, it's an interior environment about 70, 72 degrees, protects all your belongings. Simple one-story metal building that's charted out there in your plans, and should be adequate with the parking. Fits well with other improvements, and we're looking forward to it and asking for your approval. Any questions at all? Yeah, I'll hear the answer.
Thank you. Are there questions?
Yeah, Harry, I live 3 houses down from you. I was just, looking online and all your permit information. It's really hard to see. It's kind of blurry. But one thing it has building height 45 feet. You just said it's a one-story building, so why is the height 45 feet?
What I understand that Ron did, he wasn't able to make it, the engineer, but that's what the allowed height is. The height would only be 15 feet or so.
Oh, okay.
And we're planning for a one-story structure. Again, when the building is goes through permitting, they'll have the proper height and all that good stuff.
And your entrance is going to be on 5th Street for that, or
Yes.
is it still going to be off 15th?
Will lead, it will connect to it, to the main entrance now. It's that open field where all RVs are, but the primary entrance and the parking will be off 5th Street. It's shown in that plan.
So that building is, all the boats and stuff are going to go away?
Yes.
Just another question, since I live there, along that street, chain link fences along that fence. Are you going to replace that with a wooden fence or something to just make the area look nicer?
We haven't really got into the landscaping of it yet, but we have the same vision.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
It'll be a good looking project.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, sir. Bring it to the table for discussion or questions.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I read a space from Harry, so do I need to be again?
Give me 30 seconds. Let me, is this one building? I'm about half blind. It's just gonna be one building?
Yes.
Where you get
One building.
Just one? Okay. Yeah, it's not gonna be the storage pups for the stack side one that's gonna be, because I'm about half blind. And I couldn't really make out this drawing. And you tried to show it to me this morning, and I was on fire. So, it's gonna be just 15 foot high, but I could.
I'm not sure about the height. It's a one-story high.
Well, he's got 48 feet. It's a commercial property, so I mean, he can build up 48 feet.
Okay. I just asking.
I think that's why that number was.
That's probably why that number's there, because it wouldn't make sense you want a heat and cool 48 feet high building for.
But it's gonna be one metal building, probably. I think.
Yes.
Probably. Okay.
No, Daryl, I don't think you have the same voting conflict problem. If you're uncertain, you can abstain, but I don't think you need to.
I don't care if no one else cares.
Just a thing that way you be
Well,
safe.
I don't like
It's
hearing.
not whether we
Yes,
care,
anyhow.
it's the ethics commission cares.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Just,
Yeah.
just think.
No, my opinion is gonna be what my opinion is, has nothing to do with the fact that I work. Unless we can talk about rates now, Harry.
Good Now make a mistake.
I'm assuming you're having the same as everybody.
Well, you know, everybody gets to laugh, and it's good for us to laugh.
It is.
Maybe we could cut the tape off. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Daryl, you don't have any more comments?
No.
All right. Levy, we gotta find it sometime.
Yes, we do.
All right, we have a development order request. I'm sure the building department has properly scrutinized the development order.
Yes.
They
yes,
did
have.
recommend approval.
I saw that.
There is a note in here about the finished floor elevation. From staff perspective, is the idea that that will be resolved prior to issuing the building permit?
That's
Yes,
actually
that's
already
correct.
been resolved.
So this has got to be a foot and a half above? The
Yeah.
15th Street. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they've already changed all their drawings to reflect that, so.
Okay.
All right, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the commercial development orders on 625 15th Street for the new storage facility.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
Next is Resolution 2121. Let me get the papers out here. Yeah. All right, this is the boat ramp block. Mario, I guess you want to handle this?
We basically requested some square footage calculations from Dewberry, and they complimentarily provided us a 500 cubic yard area. They gave us a little bit of a drawing so that we could direct staff where to place the rock. We put that together with FDOT requirements. We checked to make sure that we had permits. We do have an existing permit on that parcel that allows us to fill this area. So we are consistent with all the rules and regulations. We put it out to bid. We should be able to cover this with impact fee monies because this is an expansion of an existing of a facility that you cannot park in this area. So this allows us to expand the footprint of our boat ramp. So we should be able to use impact fees. We've followed the process, and we unfortunately only got one bid, but it's within reasonable budget. It's $17,980 to provide the fill on site, and then staff will be utilized to spread it and compact it.
Excuse me.
Any questions too?
Okay, any questions about the project, or, I mean, we've all talked about trying to expand that boat ramp parking.
Is this for the expansion or just to recover what we've already got?
This is expanding.
No,
This is the
This is where
expansion.
right now all that's there is sand. We don't have to do land clearing. This is the sandy area of the boat ramp area that will now have
Right,
line rock.
because that rock didn't go out very far.
It's going over toward the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, toward, yeah, that's right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
So we need approval. Do I have a motion to read by title only?
I make a motion to read by title only resolution 2121.
So,
Have a motion second. Tammy, please read.
Resolution 21-21, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a bid proposal from United Fleet Mobile Services, LLC, to deliver 500 cubic yards of lime rock base to the east end of the city boat ramp parking lot in the amount of $17,980.
Motion for approval.
I make a motion we approve resolution 2121.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Is that something we're going to move
We'll
forward with
we'll call it
ASAP?
Yes.
at the end of the meeting, and we'll get it delivered as quick as we can.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 761, this is the second reading. Again, this is on the lot combinations that we have approved the first reading last month. This is coming up. There's no changes to the language. Is there a motion to read resolution 761 the title only? Ordinance 761 the title only?
I make a motion to read ordinance 761 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion to second. Any opposition to read? Please read.
Ordinance 761, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to confirm the rules for preliminary plat approval, final plat approval, and lot splits, providing a process for lot combinations, providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Thank you. And is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve order 761.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, moving to first reading, order 762. Do we have, a motion to read?
I make a motion, we read ordinance 762 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. This deals with the special master, and from what I see, all this, just for clarification, the only change is that one, or that's all we're doing?
Our current code says the special master doesn't receive any compensation. This change would allow you to approve
Compensate.
some kind of compensation. It doesn't say what it is, but it allows you to approve a contractor as compensation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, to read ordinance 762. Please read.
Ordinance 762, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to allow the city to compensate code enforcement special masters, providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Your agenda has 7B says motion to approve, but that was a mistake. There's no proof of that.
So add that to our 30-day next meeting, like we would for all sectors. All right, moving on. Demo list. I guess I jumped the gun when I discussed that earlier. Didn't mean you didn't shake your head or you didn't do anything. You didn't have to do it.
But it needs to be done.
Okay.
So it's over with now. And Kathy appreciates it. It's over with. Highly appreciate it, see that?
So we can move past that. All right. Boat slips. That's you.
That's me.
Got your name on this big piece of paper.
Side. I got your piece of paper right here too. And a couple of things, I think we got a couple people in the audience right here should have, they said they were coming. The first one is, if you is what we charge now. This is snapper season coming up, and I talked to a lot of people, fishermen, whatever they are. I don't know if I recommend or whatever I want to do. I think we should go up to the 40 or whatever you have right there to it and go up with the race. Since it's not that much. And if you look, it says the annual is still $3,000. I don't think we have it. Two people that it's annual that stay there year round, and they are licensed and charter boats from Mexico Beach. I thought I'd just give them a break and wouldn't go up on them, but that's my opinion now. That's why I started for discussion. And also, I would like to $10 a day on our boat ramp and $50 annual fee. I would like to keep it at 10 and go up to the $100. And also, I got the last piece of paper that's got a lot of writing in it is Mike Guy, the lieutenant with the FWC. Me and him's been in back and forth conversation. He gave me this piece of paper and this credit card. He said this is the best thing they've done at Port St. Joe. Get away from the paper. He said no, they don't have money, they don't have a check, they don't have, you don't have. He said it's a lot of money up front. They bought the insurance and all go with it. He said they have not had any trouble. And he gave me the name and where they got it from and what it cost. And he said it made things a lot easier at Port St. Joe. And it is snapper season, and It's trying to get your gun, and I'm a fisherman, I know Al is. We all used to fish, and we can't pay money, but if you go to Port St. Joe and launch your little boat, have to salt walk about a half a mile in the church parking lot, I believe we do have something to offer. And it's not that much going up. So.
Yes, sir.
Captain Mitch Coleman, 210 Fort Narland, Florida Adventures for the last 13 years here. I would like to encourage you all to consider raising the ramp fee. I think our ramp fee is absurdly cheap.
Yep.
The amount of money that the Reef Association has put into artificial reefs in the last 5 years to the west of the canal, when you leave the canal and start going out to the west, it's only 6 to 8 miles from the mouth of our canal to get to the reefs where the red snapper are. And if you look at our parking lot any Saturday, Sunday, during the week, during our snapper season, you'll see how many people drive over here from Bay County. They come from Panama City, they come from Marianna, Chipley, Wewak. They don't come in here and buy their gas, they don't buy their bait, they don't buy their ice. They come fully prepared. They pull in, drop their boat in, and go and fish our reefs and put a lot of pressure on our reefs. If we charge $20 to launch our boats here and $150 a year for an annual permit, it'll do two things. One, it's not going to run anybody off. They're going to still come here and launch. Because if they launch in Port St. Joe and they want to run to our artificial reefs, it's about a 22-mile run versus a 6-mile run for us. If they launch in Panama City, they got to come across the East Bay or West Bay and then come out through the pass and another 15-mile run to get to our reefs. It's over $100 just in fuel, and that's assuming you got a very efficient four-stroke, versus a $10 increase from where we are now on our launch fees. The money raised by increasing the fees, and I agree with Jerry on the split fees, also need to raise them, but I would raise them more than $40. What this does, it allows money to be, it pretty much double what your revenues were last year on the boat ramp. Because, and that money will now ease the pressure on the taxpayers in Mexico Beach who, when we have a shortfall with bridge repairs or anything has to be done with that canal, it goes to the taxpayer. Well, all the taxpayers don't use the canal. So the users that are coming into town and using our, and it's a beautiful ramp, we've got great parking, we've got great access to the Gulf thanks to our dredge crew and the work that they're doing. We have enough to offer that we should charge more than what our surrounding facilities do. Because I agree, Jerry, if you don't want to pay $20 to launch in Mexico Beach, go launch in Gulf County and take that ride across the bay. And you'll only do it once. So I would encourage our council to consider that, increasing, doubling that daily, tripling the annual. It's still a deal. I've spoken to Bob Cox, the president of the Reef Association. He has to pay because he's a Gulf County resident, and we hate to take his money because of all the stuff they do in the Reef Association. But he said he wouldn't have not a problem going to 150. And anybody else that I've spoken to, so long as that money that's raised stays in the canal funds and goes towards getting us a new dredge, goes towards whatever improvements need be. We're leaving money on the table. And as far as the boat slips, I've checked with some of the marinas around. They charge by the foot. It shouldn't be a flat $40 a day. That's too cheap. You got a 30-foot boat, and you take the time to bring it over here, and you want to drop it in the water and keep it in for 2 or 3 days. That's most people, maybe a week. You got a 30-foot boat, you're not going to sneeze paying $60 a night for a boat slip. My 20-foot boat would cost me $40, which is Jason, what you were talking about increase. I have no problem paying that. And I'm a resident, I'll still pay that because we're only excluded there. But I would really encourage you to do that, and I would also encourage you to consider a couple of improvements over there. Number one, moving the pay box from where it is on the boat ramp, move it up to the top of the hill with good signage so when people come in, they don't block the ramp while they pay their money. One more thing just to make a little aside from where you are there, any further expansion over at the boat ramps, don't try to expand too much more slip space and take away that basin, because people use that for unloading and loading. If you block that basin off with 3 more ramps, you're not going to have any place for loading and unloading. But I encourage you to take the pressure off the taxpayers and put it on the users.
Okay, yes, sir.
Rock Creek, Colorado. I couldn't agree more, every word he said. You know, I've been at your meetings before in the budget, and I've talked about the ramp fees. It's ridiculously cheap, and that money needs to be stayed here to the city to maintain that. $20 is nothing to launch a boat. And your yearly fees, where I came from in Clearwater as a resident, you have to pay $300 a year to launch my boat. That was as a resident fee. I mean, this is, the fees you charge here are ridiculously cheap. Like the gentleman said, every word he said, I couldn't agree with more. We're the ones using the ramp. Anybody can go to the beach, but you got to have a boat to use the ramp. You need to raise the fees, raise the annual fee, and raise the launch fee. Like you said, these people that come here, I've talked to a lot of people at the ramp. They're coming from Weewha, Panama City, and everything else just to go out here fishing. They're not stopping here buying gas. They go to the racetrack and filling up on their way here and buying their bait and everything else. They're not spending a penny here. They're launching their boat and going out the canal fishing and coming back again. Please really consider every word he said, because it makes sense, and we've talked about this before for the last couple of years.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I couldn't agree more with Mitch or Rob. We have discussed among ourselves as residents for so long the fact that the people who use the boat ramp and launch their boats can certainly afford to pay higher fees, so that those of us who do not use that ramp, who do not go out and fish, are not left with all of these maintenance costs. It is time for the council, the city, to act to take this burden partially off of us. So y'all need to remember that you work for us, not for the people who come here from out of town to boat. So use your common sense and raise these fees and make us a little bit better, so that the maintenance costs are better distributed.
Anybody else? Okay. Okay.
Which I would like to add, do we have 29 slips open? And I talked to the man this morning, and we should have, by the end of the week, we should have 40 some slips. And John Lee had a little medical problem, so he couldn't give me everything I could give him one, but he told me he had all 29 ready by last week and wanted more. So we'll have 41 by the end of the week. We do have water, we don't have electricity. And Charlie with Kurt Solution said that the pedestal should be in by the 15th, and he put everybody on the job to try to get us done, which I sort of doubt by the end of the month. But we can at least have electric and water, and we're gonna start at 1 and come this way, but that'd be 41 that we'll have open, and that we could read.
I just want clarification on your paperwork.
Yes.
Are these recommendations? Is this
Yeah.
what,
Then you
on
got-
boat slip rentals, I'm gonna stick with just the boat slip rentals?
Yeah, that's
40,
my recommendation.
225,
Yeah.
450,
That was mine.
and 40,
That's it. I can give you some, now, some of these boat slips that I've been checking on, and like he said, it's real high, but today, it was $40 daily, $250 weekly, $650 monthly, $3,200 for 6 months, and $5,500 annually. That's nowhere near what we're trying to charge, and that's the shipyard.
Over in Appalachia.
Yeah. But, and then, you know, I took that and I talked to Mitch, I talked to all the charter boat captains, I talked to Chip Blackman, everybody's got a boat. And they are agreeing with the same thing Mitch says, but to me, I don't like it. I think we need to ease into it instead of
I just want to make sure that I'm following this. Now, I'm a little confused on the bottom there. charter captain license with the city of Mexico Beach. I don't, what is that? I don't know what that means.
If you look at the rate right here, it's 4,000. Let me get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Annual fee. If you're a charter boat captain out of Mexico Beach with license, then you still, I think we should just let it stay the way it was. That's $3,000. We don't have two annual people that get an annual, and that's Chip Blackman, he can't move it. I think Kevin Lanier said he was gonna do it. Mitch said he had a couple of them that he knew, but that was just people that's gonna be with us all year long. And like Chip Blackman, I just thought maybe this is my opinion now that I took all these down. So if y'all want, I'm just for discussion.
Who qualifies in for 3,000?
If you have a license of charter boat out of Mexico Beach.
Business license.
Business license. Out of Mexico Beach.
I'm just trying to fast forward to what, as that get convoluted down the road, it would have two different prices for, anyone can get a business license.
And I understand it's a charter boat. That might be something Nick might have to help me with, but I was just trying to.
So that's like a local word.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the right word, but
that's the all legal. But that's for like people like, well, I'm with Chip and Kevin. They have boats here. They're people here. They have license and they out of Mexico Beach. You know, against 3,000, against the 4,000, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, I'm just trying to, I'm not having a judgment on, I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding who qualifies for that. I see personally, I'm seeing that as a little.
Oh yeah.
From a city point. Okay. All right, I got you.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
On your card slot.
Yes. Mike was supposed to be here to help me with these right here, but he had a little surgery. Okay. Go ahead.
First of all, Mario, does the money we have in the boat ramp, would that pay for this, the card slot?
It would come out of that budget, yes, sir.
So we wouldn't have to add more to it. It just already be in that budget.
We would take from the money that's made at the boat ramp to pay for the card swipe machine.
Okay.
Mitch, have you ever used a card? Excuse me, Bob. Have you ever used a card swipe machine? That got at Port St. Joe? I haven't either. That's why I don't.
I think anything you can do to make it easier to be.
That's what I was looking at.
I'm sorry.
I've used them. They're great. They're great.
Oh, you have?
Okay. Yeah, they have them Clearwater, old boat ramps, and they're great.
Excuse me.
It's, if you had a card slot machine, going up on it would be easier than pay it. You know what I'm saying? And they have had no problems.
No, they bought the insurance. If you read it through there, he sent me people to get in contact with and what they do. And he told me, if you think about it, what we got, we have a mailbox. Kathy does a good job, but when it rains, there's no ink pen. How many people, going fishing got ink pen in his pocket or in his purse? He got $10, but he gets up there, his envelopes are wet, he tries to write on it, puts the $10 there, puts it on his windshield, it gets wet. She don't have a clue what's going on, if he's one from last month or what he had, but most fishermen don't. It's just the way he talked, this was the way to go.
And dishes out a ticket you put in when you.
Yeah, he said this was the new, and I just thought I would bring this up for discussion now.
Now, how did they implement it? Because the guy pulling up thinking he's going to throw $10 or $20 in, all of a sudden he's got to do a card. Does it?
Well,
I think you can still do it. I think
you can still put cash in.
You have a hand and an R. You have a cash box here.
So was yours an hand and an R?
It was just a credit card.
Okay.
It was just credit card.
So you use your credit card. Use your credit card. You don't use a special card. That
No,
you have
no,
to
credit card.
Okay.
Credit card, debit card,
Now
credit
clear.
card. That's it.
Okay.
If you, I mean, I know I should give, but if you read it, it says they had to open up new account, and it went into this account. I wish Mike could have been here, he could really, it wouldn't, nothing, he explained it to me.
We can explore that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what we all focus on is the boat slip rental. Let's sort of do them in sections, and on the boat slip rental, the fees for that, the increase, how do people feel about that? And then just looking at just the boat slip rental.
I'm not against it.
I'm for definitely going up, and I have been a charter captain, maybe a charter captain again, I don't know, but I do think that we ought to have like a 25-foot maximum, and then you charge per foot, because some of those big boats are, I mean, they're really big. What do you think, Mitch?
I think you should go to by the foot. I mean, I've been the assistant harbor master to the 3 previous harbor masters we've had here in town, and I fill in for them when they have to leave town or have a medical issue or whatever. And I'll tell you, it's a tough job, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
The man doesn't even have a smartphone. The city needs to give our harbor master a smartphone. So he's got a little better equipment than what he is. But we are just leaving money on the table. $2 a foot, nobody will bat an eye at $2 a foot. And trying to say, well, it's this amount up to 25 feet, then it's this amount over. That's just make it $2 a foot.
I don't have a problem with that, because
it's simple.
There's
what's going to happen. Boats that stick out in the middle of the canal shouldn't be paying $30 or $40 for a slip. I mean, they got a $200,000 boat. If they can't afford $60 or $70 for a slip, then don't come. Go somewhere else. Same way about the boat rent, Gary. Don't ease into it. Raise it to at least 15 right now today, and go to 20 in snapper season. We're leaving money on the table.
Mitch, me and you talked about this 2 weeks, but I think, in my opinion, if you read the game boards in this other page, he says that they are 10 and they still 50. I say let's rate, and I have my opinion, which is I say raise it to 100 for a yearly slip boat ramp. And the reason why, if you just say we have 6 weeks of snapper season, if they come that'd be 12 times they come, they really getting it less than $10. And I really believe raising it from 50 to 100 we can make us more money, because a lot of people's not going to pay the $10. They're going to buy the annual pass, because they snap fish and they're going to come, and they got to come to 5 times to pay for the annual pass. So I say leave it at 10 and go to a home. Right. That's my
let's stay on the boat slip.
Boat slip.
Let's just stay there till we decide what we want to do, and then we'll move to the boat launch fee. Boat slip rentals. Yes, I saw a hand. I'm trying to move on.
I used to have a bigger boat. I travel everywhere down the Keys. Everywhere I've ever been, it's by the foot. The only place I've ever seen a flat rate is at a state park. Everything else is by the foot, no matter where you go.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, to enact a new rate requires what? If we have an ordinance.
The rates are in your city code, believe it or not. So yeah, an ordinance.
It requires an ordinance to change it.
That's right.
Can't do it real
Go.
quick.
I won't do it right. I won't do it
So that would require, one, we don't have anything prepared, so we'd be next meeting, so then we're looking at 2 months.
If we gave good direction today, we could probably start the advertising and expedite it to some degree, but best case scenario, you're still talking June 8th.
Okay. So is it, what Jerry has is a flat fee. What is being discussed or has been thrown out is a per foot price. What's the consensus of the group in terms of how you want to charge?
I kind of agree with the foot.
The foot or foot?
I do too.
The foot?
It makes more sense.
You know, somebody with 20 foot
is $2. Right. I don't disagree. I think, like it's been said, the foot price in the places that I'm familiar with that's the common way of doing it.
I mean, they got shipyard charges $4.25.
They do a flat rate.
They do.
They don't do
John Lee, you know, he just asked me trying to keep it.
Well,
which that's why I'm doing what.
Well, I think now's the time, we're redoing our marina, we're coming back with, I mean, and it is an amenity that is, I mean, there's not many of them around, so I mean, but we want to be fair, and as long as we're in the ballpark, I don't want to be the most expensive place in the county. I don't want to do that. I'm not looking, I don't think of it as a cash restaurant. Contrary to what some say, I don't think of it that way. I think of it as an amenity to our city, just like I think of pickleball courts and swings and everything else. I think, I hope we're very cautious about it being a cash restaurant.
Okay, going back to what I said, the foot is good, but how much trouble is it for John? Oh, somebody says, well, I got 20 foot here.
John,
you're going to get a tape measure.
Well, a guy like John look at it and say,
Bobby,
Bobby,
that's all, when they call to reserve a slip, that's the first thing we have to know, because some of the, you know, if it's a 32-foot boat, it can't go in all the slips. It has an area where you have to put that. So we know what size boat it's going to be when they call to make a reservation.
Okay.
There you go. So, go ahead.
Mayor, if you're going to go to the foot charge, that $2 a foot is the daily charge, would then the weekly charge be $11 a foot, the monthly charge $22 a foot, and the annual cost of $200 a foot, to reciprocate with the prices you have based on a 20-foot boat?
I haven't done that figure.
Well, see, I think there's got to be more. I think we got to have more input to how we're. I mean, I'll ask some of you guys that pay that. If you're there for a week, do you pay the foot price per day times 7?
Yep.
Oh, really?
And if I was there a month, I'll pay the monthly by whatever the day, the $2 a day, $2 a foot. There shouldn't be a break, because first of all, we don't have that many people that are there for long term. It's people come in, they rent a house for a week, they rent a slip from Saturday to Saturday or Sunday to Sunday, and they don't ask me, do I get a discount on a week? What's the rate?
What is the average boat length then? Maybe I can get it by hand what it costs. What is the snap fishes? How long is your boat need?
22 feet. That's average.
22
to 24 feet is most everybody.
Let's just say 24 feet. That would give you how much a day?
$48 a day.
We up to 40, that's what we said. And that, right, as long as we going up and be within reason, I'm for it. I mean, my doing right here is just.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's not even. I mean, just think about it now. At $2 a foot per day is $48. You said 40.
Yes, sir.
All right. You said weekly $225.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you go weekly at that, it's $1,440.
How many people we gonna get? That was my problem with daily to weekly to monthly. That's way too much to me. That's running the law.
$48 a day.
48. Well, I mean, a month. 30 days in a month. 30 times $50. $1,500.
We don't have anybody by the month down there. We
won't have any. I can tell you.
We never
had some.
Everybody a week.
It was the hardest for me to go from the weekly to the monthly, because when I looked over here at Shipyard and all what Nate and all them charged, I said, my God, we can't. That's just way too much. But I brought this up for discussion. Just as long as we get it, I think we need to go about whatever the council wants to do. I think that's what we need to do.
Can I have one more say? And I'll be done.
You got to ask the mayor.
Yeah, this is
okay. Al, if you've seen in the last couple of years, the boats and what people are spending, we've got more $100,000 to $200,000 boats in our canal and in our slips down here than you can shake a stick at. And if people are spending that kind of money, I know it sounds expensive when you talk about going from where we are to where we should be and making it quickly, but we've just been under for so long, and we're just getting caught up. We should be at $20 or $2 a foot for slips, and we should have been that way, before the hurricane. Get what we have to offer here, what Scipio Creek has to offer, aren't the same. We have better than they have. We have better than what they have in Gulf County or in Bay County and what they rent over there. We should be charging more because of what we offer. And what we have has not been easy. We have a reef fishery out here that is beyond, everybody wants to come. They're not going to quit coming if we raise our rates.
And you've got boats, a ton of boats that are $500,000 or better.
Sitting in that canal, they won't bat an eye.
And when they pull up to the gas pump, they're putting $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 worth of fuel in it. And some of them will go all the way to Louisiana and run all that out, and they have to get more before they get back. And some of them have to take a bladder. So these guys are used to paying more. It's the nature of what they do. And so for us, $2 a foot, I don't think is out of line, even if it comes to $1,000 a month. Those guys aren't going to.
But if we're coming for $1,000, it'll be $1,500 a month.
$1,440.
Well,
I'm not going.
that's right, $1,440.
I think that's jumping the gun. I think we.
We're going to do that. I'd like to see what our competition is in the area. That's what I'm more interested in. Yeah.
I just pulled up Clearwater Marina where I used to go. They're charging $227 a foot and $1133 per foot if you stay per week. So they have two rates. It used to just be the daily rate. They left a weekly rate that was a little bit different, but most people are all over $2. You go down to Captiva and stuff, they're looking at $250.
But you gotta have, so then you have to have an incremental decrease by the month, by the year, by the week. Well, I don't know if we're ready to sit here and do all that right now.
I agree
with my point.
That's the calculation that I took off based on the annual, monthly, and weekly rate that had been proposed. I just backed into a 20-foot boat to equal the $4,050 monthly rate for $450. So again, that's what I was attempting to do on the fly.
Yeah. Well, the easy thing to do today, if there's a movement to do that, is just adopt what's on this paper. That's the easy thing. That's a simple, easy thing to do.
But I think
the other way to do it, this is my opinion, is to come back with somebody, sit down and say, other than just $2 a foot, I don't like that. I think that would be at $1,440 a month. I don't think we need to do that.
Well, now, a month at $40 is not $450. So you're not saying 30 times the day for the price in the breakdown here.
Oh, you're right. Right. Yeah. Gary just took, I think, what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And made
that's what I did. Yeah. And I was told by this foot rate it gets complicated.
Yeah,
that's what I was told.
I'm sure we could come up with something.
Oh yeah, we can. As long as we can do it, and that we increase our prices by not.
If we change the price the way we're doing it now, we don't have to have an ordinance, do we? Oh, you have to have an ordinance just
to change the price. You have to.
Oh, to change the price even in the system we're working in now.
Your city code has your rates in it, and the change of city code takes.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Okay, so we have to have ordinance. What's the council want to do about the boat slip rentals? We want to give direction so we can get the ordinance written. We want to get some research on the foot price, or we want to go what we got. We either.
Good.
Well, if we're going to do it, we need to go and get it done fast as we can. So.
I think we need to get Rock to call around and get prices for us. Would you volunteer to do that, Rock?
I'll call around. I mean, you can get online and look at all the half the slips in the state. Pull them up and see what they're charging.
In the county.
Yeah, in the county.
I'm not interested in what they're doing in Clearwater. I'm really not. I'm just not interested in that. Miami or all right, so does that mean we just table this? I'm okay with taking this sheet right here and saying adopt it. Perfect.
Well, to get it done, we're gonna need to.
Well, but, I mean,
If we table it, you're gonna be going,
We need to
and the
stop.
snap seed will be gone by the time we get
well,
anywhere
then let's
done.
just adopt this, and let the ordinance reflect that. I can't make a motion, but that's what I'd say.
Well, I don't think I can either, but I got it, it's mine. I don't think I can.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
I tell you, before I do that, I want us to discuss briefly, again, why would we have an exception? I see that as a potential problem. I really do. I'm just trying to figure out or if they have a business license.
Yeah, to me.
Instead of a licensed captain, because that could be.
Oh, I see that. I didn't know, but if I'll just say name. Let's take Chip. He probably has 80. Tell me how many people he brings into this town. Gets his feet cleaned, his Chip, all it. Everybody. I mean, gets his feet anyway. He does. People like him, and he has no way to try to his boat. He can't try to his boat. He has to leave it in the water. He can't do it. And I reckon that's what I was more on him than I was anybody. And I talked to Kevin, and Kevin said the same thing. But now that's what he's been paying. I don't know why we can't go up a little bit on him, but that's what he's paying now.
I just think it ought to be a flat fee now.
What was
Okay,
the,
and they can get away with
Just
that.
whatever the slip fee is, that's the slip fee.
yeah, what was the fee for the license?
Excuse me?
The fee for the city's license?
$60.
So somebody pays $50 to get a license, to pay $3,000 instead of $4,000.
Well,
So I don't think we need to have that flat end.
you just think $4,000 in, Bobby? I mean, that's fine with me. I'm trying to give them two people that's been here so long, that brings a lot of business in this town, a little break. But y'all,
That makes, I'm looking at
I understand. He just gonna come up and say, I got a license, I'm a captain.
that's right.
I
Let's
give
say you have to be
$3,000.
here 2 years, or 10 years, or 50 years. You got to.
I agree with you. Okay.
All right. So you're gonna make a motion to adopt that and leave that bottom thing on? Is that what you're gonna do?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Let's see what happens. Let's try to
I'd make a
keep
motion,
the wheel rolling.
the boat slip rentals that we have and leave off the captain, charter captains at $3,000 to some other time or whatever. Or we can leave it just like this. Is that what you want to do? That what you're trying to tell me? Just don't do the bottom.
Don't do the bottom, just adopt those
Adopt the
rates.
top, yeah. Adopt the rates at the boat slip rentals.
All right, we got a motion to adopt those rates as presented. Is there a second?
So the motion is actually to prepare the ordinance with those rates, right?
Yeah, but can't we go ahead and do this so that, can't we approve it? Or we have to wait and read them?
You still have to wait.
I can tell you what he's saying.
Yeah, you're going the wrong way.
Is there a consensus to pass this information to the attorney to get the ordinance to adopt these slip rates?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, that takes care of slip rates.
Okay, can we have a special meeting, have it reading earlier?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you can have a special meeting to do it.
I think we
You just
need
have to
to.
advertise, it has to be,
Have to be advertised and all that.
Well,
So I think we need to, if we're gonna get this.
so it takes that, and then you gotta wait 30 days to do it. All right, let's move to the boat launch fee, because that's a part of this thing.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry, you got to help me again, I'm sorry. You can't, what's the suggestion on your paperwork?
My suggestion, I didn't have that on paperwork.
Okay.
I got submitted in, right now, we $10,
$10 a day,
$50 annual.
$50 annual, okay?
My suggestion is leave it at $10, because if you read just right the paperwork from
I did that.
MC man, he says everybody went and go to $100 annual fee. And my opinion is that way is if you go snapper season and you got 6 weekends and you come down Friday and Saturday for 6, that's 12. And I figure how much money is less than $10. So I figure if we go to $100 instead of 50, that would, then that's what.
So we have a suggestion of saying at $10 a day and moving the annual fee to $100.
That's
So let's throw that ball out there and see where it goes.
Does this have to be to go through the same procedure, Nick?
I think it does, because I'm sure it's part of that same rate schedule.
I'm looking for it.
Yes, sir.
Do we have citizen comment?
Well, I think we've had them. We need some more.
Well, now you're asking, you're saying 10 and 100.
Yeah, we can have, we can have as many
I have a-
comments as we need.
I just have a question, maybe Mario, what is the shortfall between the budget and the revenues for the canal and the dredge operation? How much?
There are none.
So the revenues at the boat slip,
Oh, of course
cover?
not. Of course not.
Okay. How much is this?
Oh, well, I don't know.
That's what I was asking Mario.
He won't know.
I won't know that.
Is there any way to know? How much revenue was brought into the boat ramp last year?
I'd have to look into it. I don't have that sitting here in my.
We got like 140 something.
If you think that the boat ramp fees supplement
There's
the
a lot of
budget
money
to
in that
run the
account that may
canal,
not be used, so I
don't
can't
even
tell
come
you
close.
what.
They don't? That's why I'm saying so. That's why I say we need to double and let them get a little closer.
Okay, I mean, you made your, I mean, we've heard you, we follow you.
Do you have something to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question in reference to the language of the ordinance. Rather than setting the rates in the ordinance, can you change the ordinance to read that it will be reviewed on an annual basis and rates adjusted as necessary without having to go back and change the annual? Actually publish it in the ordinance as a part of the rates. So your rates change, you meet on it annually, you set your rates or change your rates as necessary, and then you publish the rates. Instead of actually
Yeah,
making
I'm
the
sure that we
rates in
can
the
make
ordinance.
that so that we don't, I know.
You can sort of expedite things.
You could set the rates by resolution if you had said in your city code, that's how you do it.
That's it.
Right. That's what I meant to say.
But then that requires changing the city code.
Correct. For the first time.
So that's the first thing, yeah. But you're right, that, can we digest that, Nick, and come up with the easiest way to do this? Because I have a feeling down the road, the rate schedule may.
Yeah, you may just want to change it frequently enough that the ordinances are.
That gives us a chance to do that. Could we adopt that, or we put that language in there?
Yes.
Good idea.
Okay, good idea, thank you. All right, so back to the boat launch fee. The suggestion is $10 a day, $100 annually.
I suggest.
That's right, well, that's what I said, that's the suggestion. I'm okay with it, personally.
I think we need to double the day, personally.
You 20? I know what you're saying, but I'd rather be around here that double everybody. And I wanted to go to 20 and 100. I sort of halfway agree with you, but I just don't want to be the highest price.
There is no much loss.
All right, well, I'm thinking more in between you two. And, but again, in that thinking, I'm thinking about your parts rocking machine being easier for somebody to pay it off.
This is what it is existing.
Than, doing these.
Mine is good, but I just didn't want to be the highest dog in the hunt.
Well, I think 20 is too high.
Okay.
I think 10 is too low. That's really I'm looking at 15.
15 and 150, what do you say?
20.
I'm 10 and 100.
10 and 100.
That's me.
I like that. 10 and 100.
Let's go with it.
That's my suggestion.
You're not, you're something different, 15.
I'm always good.
Well, that's okay. That's fine. I'm wrong with that. I'm just trying to get us so we can.
Yeah, I don't think we need to jump as high as 20. I would stay with 10 before I would jump as high as 20, but I prefer 15. Now, how's that?
All right. Anybody else over here got a comment?
The sheriff.
I think it ought to 10 and 100. I agree with you, Jerry, on that. I really do.
Down.
I'm okay with that. I think we were due consensus.
All right. Then so, can we pass that on to you, Nick? You gotta change it to 10 and 100 on the annual. The only real thing changing that.
So $10.
$10 a day, $100 a year.
And we're gonna do that same thing that this lady brought up, so that we can, renegotiate it easily.
Yeah, what we'll actually do is an ordinance that says that the rates are set by resolution.
There you go.
Also, the resolution has a rate.
You got anything else?
What about a card reading machine? You think?
I hope we explore that.
Okay. Who do we?
Guy,
Thank you. Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think y'all headed the right direction.
Thank you. Who do we?
I think we passed that to our. He's raised his hand. He knows.
Who is he?
Okay.
Let's move right along.
Let's explore that.
I think that's going to play. The way everybody talks, that's a cat daddy. So I like it.
I like it, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's a great idea. And not only is it a great idea, it's ADA, it's all compliant. And while we're talking about that, we absolutely, without question, need to move it up on the road where everybody stops.
Me and Tommy working on a lot of things.
In doing that, can they pay the yearly fee on it too?
Sure.
I was thinking it would, it would be.
Well, I'm sitting here, I am saying, I don't know.
I
know in St. Joe, they are very, very pleased with what they did.
And they got them telephone numbers and they're calling them people because Mike told me, said, if you have any questions, call it, and he got the numbers. You call the company that makes it. And call the people.
We're going to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, we're fixing to move on.
Thank you.
Code Enforcement Special Master Selection. We have two applicants, we'll call them. Nick, other than that they're both qualified, is there anything we need to know?
Sure, I'll just give an overview.
Give an overview for us.
So your applicants are Dana Morris out of Panama City and Bucky Mitchell out of Tallahassee. They're both experienced lawyers, good resumes, no problems. Dana Morris practices more in criminal law. He's in court all the time, so that's useful for process and handling hearings. Bucky Mitchell is probably more of someone familiar with government issues, so that's helpful as well. You've got pricing included in these proposals. Dana Morris is less expensive, but the differences are not huge. Dana Morris does $170 an hour, including travel time back and forth to the city, and Bucky Mitchell has a little more confusing price structure because in our request, we said that we prefer a per case price, but they can submit a per hour price. So I think this would be our option. So the hourly prices are $225 an hour, and the per case price is $600 for the hearing and $400 if it's not a hearing. Generally, the $600 or $400, that's going to be a lot more than what the hourly rate would be. So basically, we're talking about $225 coming from Tallahassee. I'm not sure if it was intended to charge for driving, and $170 for the other proposal coming from Panama City. I think both of them will do a good job.
As part of the proposed fees listed above, I would also expect reimbursement by City of Mexico Beach for travel. So not Dana, the other fellow, Bucky, would also have to be added to his success.
And I don't know if he meant mileage on the vehicle or his own time. Not certain. We could work that out with him if you're inclined to select him.
Well, I'd have to go on you. I don't know. I know I got a lawyer. He got a resume too, and he's high too. You gonna lean which one is you like, or you ain't close to? I should have talked before the meeting.
I don't really want to make a recommendation, but I would say that I wouldn't say that there's big differences, qualifications that would justify spending a lot of extra money. And you do have one that's less expensive.
You just told me.
So, this also gets covered by whoever is paying the fines. Do they have to pay this fee?
We do
charge
for the cost of the hearing. I don't know if we charge the total. I'm not sure what we said, but we do charge some.
Okay,
assuming the city limits.
On the per case, so if he has 4 cases, And it is $400 each case.
That or the $2.25 an hour, which I think we probably prefer the hourly rate.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know. I mean, most of our cases are very short, and then you get one occasionally that is more complicated, but those are rare.
Or 170.
Or 170 for the other.
But again, I think that we shouldn't have to pay anything. Anybody that's in violation, they're in violation because they're not cooperating. So when you don't cooperate, you should have to pay for us going after and having to.
Well, that's assuming
that
you make the assumption that the person that we're coming to special master agrees with us.
We do have some language to that effect in our code. I'm not certain it's a total recovery. But
We got one every
cover
special master case.
They have it?
Most of those, my experience has been with some of we had very poor record keeping. Well, we had inadequate record.
Yeah,
Better word.
yeah.
All right, so we need to, we've all been waiting to get something. We're used to not paying, but we got to pay, and not fault. We have a recommendation or a motion to accept one.
I make a motion we accept the Morris Law Firm's application for special master.
Yeah, she.
Seems more reasonable.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion second. Need more questions? Is there any opposition? Motion carries 5-0. And who notified Mr. Morris?
I would be happy to, unless you prefer to.
Yeah, well, you sort of had the dialogue, just put him on, and let's get that process in order as rapidly as feasible so that he can, and that will, Kathy's already, and she's still not.
Yeah.
Then to have somebody so that we communicate, and Mario, let's try to get that moving. All right, you're up.
Mayor, a couple things. The Welcome Center is wrapping up. It should be done before the end of the month, so we'll be doing a punch list on that. That's coming to a conclusion here shortly. US 98 Landscape is doing about the same. It'll be done by the end of the month, so we should be getting our approvals for that. Next, council asked for us to look at creative ways of doing the signage to get it done as quickly as possible. I checked in with Bay County. Bay County did offer to do the signs for us. Their problem is that they've got a backlog because they're short on staff just like everybody else is. So they're a couple months out before they can help. In the meantime, staff and a council member took an initiative and contacted a sign fabricator out of Alabama. They shared the RFQ with them that we had just put out to the general public and got no response, and their response back was $33,613.33, which is close to half of what we had already contracted under prior to that contract fell through. So if council would like to release me for that, and if we could just go ahead and release me for just a little bit more, so I have a contingency of, let's say, $35,000, we could bring this back to the council at the next meeting to ratify it, but in the meantime, allow me to start getting this contract underway. And these are FEMA dollars. It is an obligated project. I have checked with Ryan and Dina. They have both said that as long as we read into the minutes here that we had bid it the first time, we got no response. We bid it the second time, we got a response. That contract fell through. Bid it the third time, got nothing. Building that record should allow us to get the FEMA funds. And I also checked with Nick to make sure that we were following our charter because of advertising everything. Everybody has said so far that we are consistent with the rules and regulations.
Yes, it's your city code where the purchasing is covered, and It allows for not doing competitive bidding if you've already attempted to, and it's in the best interest of the city to do a direct contract.
Okay, so we need a motion then to accept that. Is there a dollar amount or just to come there?
If you just do $35,000 so that we have a little bit of elbow room.
I make a motion, we please accept that $35,000. And then Mario, I want them signs up, I want them bought, I sure want to wait 2 weeks, please, let's, man.
All right, we got a motion, we have a, how would you describe it?
I don't know.
An emotional.
Oh, please, we have the
Emotional.
Please.
Have a second
Yes.
for $35,000.
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Catherine?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes, emotionally.
Emotionally.
Mr. Smith?
Please, emotionally.
Ms. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes, emphatically.
And then, next, we go to TPO meetings and DOT meetings, and they often ask us what we would like to do, and one of the questions that came up was doing crossovers, walkways across US 98 to get access to the beach. I asked Mary Beth to consider doing 6 pedestrian crosswalks. But before we go that route, I wanted to make sure that the council thought that pedestrian crosswalks across US 98 was something that they wanted before we would make that an actual request at DOT. So the locations that I had penciled out were one at C Street, one at 5th, one at 7th, one at 15th, one where the commercial center is, and then one where the city pier is. Those were the 6 locations. And I have that drawing here for you to consider.
So are we open for?
This is strictly for discussion. I had not put it on the agenda, so.
That's about where we had them before.
Well, we had them at 8, 19, and 37.
Now, are these going to have the lights where they push the button and the lights flash?
We can make that request, yes, ma'am.
Or is it just, I mean,
We can ask for whatever we'd like. This is to see if you guys are even interested.
well, I think it's a good idea, but I need to know if there's gonna be a,
We can ask for the lights and everything, or we can just ask for the paint, or we can ask for just the signs. This is strictly for you guys to give me direction on what to ask for.
I personally think, and my boss told me that she thought also it was a great idea, but I don't really want to do the blinking lights.
Like we do at 8.
Yeah.
yeah, one at 8th Street does.
I mean, that, you're talking about a whole bunch of them down through there. And most people know that if you get on a crosswalk, you got a crosswalk there, there are people standing there that you're supposed to stop. So, I mean, we could even put up a sign that says, stop at crosswalks when you enter town or whatever.
Oh, don't worry, now, that's a state law.
Yeah.
You go to 38, buddy, and I hope we don't give them every 1 hour, but I am in favor of the crosswalks. And the lady that I was meeting with, the first thing she said, I'm gonna bring it up, where's the street sign, Sheriff? First thing she asked, I said, man, let's begin. Let me give you my opinion. I was gonna wait till last, but on the crosswalk. I drove a tractor for 23 years. And I hit everybody you can imagine. Ambulances, gas trucks, people. I'm a safety person. The only way we could get gates and lights at a crossing was you had to have a fatality. I don't want that to happen to us. I at least want to show the public that we are, and I don't know if we've ever had it, but I think, and that's not asking too much for us. We already had 3, Mario put 6. And if I could throw this in at the meeting, besides the crosswalks, I'm begging and pleading
to try to get the sidewalk on 15th Street over that bridge. That is a very dangerous place.
Yes,
That is something I work on with the girls besides this. But I'm in favor. I'm in favor of the crossing.
I pushed that bridge the whole time I was on there.
You just ain't talking.
It's hard work, but keep going.
We need it.
I shared this with Mario, and I have the most history of crosswalks in our city. But yes, we had a fatality at front of the Driftwood Motel. It was not in a crosswalk. But my fear has been from the very beginning when they first came out here. It's a U.S. federal highway. It's not a tourist corridor. It has every kind of vehicle, from log trucks to people coming through our city, not trying to operate within the streets of our city. And I think if we are not very careful, I asked DOT, myself personally, how many crosswalks do they have in an environment like Mexico Beach that is not a tourist corridor? It's a main street of our city where you're coming through to get to Tyndall or get to Port St. Joe or to get to wherever you're going. And I didn't get a good answer to that. But I am fearful that these are nothing more than false security for people trying to cross that road. And if you walk the streets and you watch where people cross, they don't cross at these crosswalks. If they come up 3rd Street, there's a crosswalk at 4th Street, they're not going to walk down 4th Street, they're going to cross 3rd Street. All you have to do is watch at Toucans, now that the gas station is back and that parking lot's there. You think those people are going to walk to that crosswalk at 8th Street? No, they're going to cross the road. So there's nothing about the safety aspect of it that is not critical to all of us, but I really am concerned that we are putting something there that says, hey, there's a crosswalk here, and that truck doesn't, that truck's thinking about going to Port St. Joe or Panama City. I'm fearful that those are nothing more than false sense of security. Because I've seen it too many times.
May I say something?
Just a minute. All right, what about the rest of the council? Or is everybody got what they need?
I'm for it. I mean, I think we need to proceed with it, and I can see your point. I didn't know it had a fatality either, but do have a crosswalk there for it. But I'm for it. I just think.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. It might offer a false sense of security, but yet I think as a councilman, I'm going to say I agree with it because it at least shows that we did try to make them a safe place to go, and if they choose not to use it, then that was not our fault. We did provide them a place. That's just one thing. So I'm in favor.
I'm in favor of them as well. And you're right, Al. They're not going to cross just in a crosswalk. They're going to cross wherever they are. But then I agree with you, Daryl. You know, it's there. One thing is the speed limit needs to say 35 and really be strictly enforced, especially if that's going to happen.
Well, you know, in my discussions with Lucretia and anybody I've talked to about this, when you really need them is during tourist season, and when tourist season's here, you can't get any slower on that road. I mean, people are doing 15 and 20, so, you know, you ought to just, you know, and I do stop. The only reason I don't stop, so no matter where they're crossing, is if there's nobody behind me. But if there are cars behind me, I stop so that they stop. Right. And typically when you stop, those cars will stop. So it's slow anyhow.
What you got back here? Whoever I call a hand, but
I'm glad that you're discussing this. I remember very clearly what happened when we put those crosswalks in. It was a huge contentious mess, and no matter how you tried to explain to people that they needed to go to the crosswalk, that did not work. They still ran right across the highway wherever they got to the highway. I watched many times people running across in front of traffic, ran out of their flip-flops, stopped in the middle of the highway with traffic flowing both ways to go pick up flip-flops or toys. It was a nightmare. And Al is correct in saying that that is a federal highway. It's not like a tourist corridor. You get log trucks going along. They don't know that those things are there. You get all kinds of vehicles that do not expect crosswalks on a major highway. And while I understand certainly the safety concept of having crosswalks, that does not work for that particular highway. Education is the only way to make people understand that on that highway, the vehicles have the right of way. You cannot just run out in traffic and expect them to stop like they do on city streets. So think very carefully about this. We've tried this before, and it was an absolute mess. And we had more near incidences of people almost being hit than we did without the crosswalk. So think long and hard, because we tried it and it did not work.
Yes, sir.
You know, I noticed something this weekend which kind of got me a little upset. You got the grass planted there now, and the road isn't as wide as it used to be before the hurricane. And there was a lot of people at the beach this weekend, and they're parking, you know, right up to the grass, and they're getting out with their stuff, and a lot of them have the beach carts. Well, I've seen a couple little girls with a beach cart and mom, and the only way to move the beach cart was between the car and the highway. And they were pushing it right down along all the cars. Couldn't have been a foot off the side of the highway, because you can't get in the grass and do anything. And the road isn't as wide as it used to be before the hurricane. The crosswalks, yeah, I know what you're saying, just like the morons walking over the sand dunes, you can't beat them in the head every day. But it might give somebody something to look at. There's a crosswalk. And I've seen people this weekend out there waving their arms to get cars to stop to come across the road. You know, because you got the walkovers, and a lot of people from the dedicated beach live back here coming across, and you got them. So yeah, it's a catch-22, but I think it's better than nothing.
All right, so Mario, I think it's move on. The consensus is to move on with it. What else you got? Oh, go.
I'll let everybody else talk, sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Move on. You got it.
Not real with the blinking lights, but I think you need some type of alertness if you're going to have crosswalks. You got to have some type of alertness that there is a crosswalk. So if you're going to have it, I think you do need the blinking lights, not just give somebody a false security that, well, I got a crosswalk, I can go. At least it will show somebody coming up down the road, you're there. And you're going to get complaints from citizens if you got on 5th Street that they got a blinking light in front of their house. So that's stuff you need to keep in mind. Education don't mean anything if you got tourists here. Don't mean nothing. So, I like the idea of a crosswalk, but I also like the idea of having blinking lights there added. Okay, now,
Got it?
move on.
Thank you.
What else you got? Come on.
Let's go 35.
Nick, I forgot you. What you got?
Nothing for that.
Council? Any comment?
I got two things, real quick though, mine's real quick. North Florida, they have been very helpful. me helping get our canal, going with the building. A lady by the name of Stacy, she's vice president. She's really been helping me keeping it going so we get through with our staffing season. And this week, while I was in City Hall, or last week, my office and city clerk's office, my desk, there's a desk in there anyway. And I was going back and forth, and I want to congratulate Gina. That office that she runs is a woof. People come in there, but it's just in and out, and they do it. Gina, and Seth do a good job. You can be commended for the office you got. And girl, you and the girls do a really good job, and that's all.
That's what you done?
I'm through.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved. I'm very mostly.
Don't